Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the first part in this series where we're building a personal dashboard app using Angular. Alright, so here is the application that we're going to be building, and this is what it's going to look like by the end of the series. Alright, so here is the bookmarks view, and here is the to-dos view, and here is the notes view, okay? So let's go back to the bookmarks view, and let's just play around with this a little bit. So here we have the existing bookmarks, and right now we just have one bookmark, right? This one here. So let's go and add a new one. Let's go here and let's add one for Wikipedia. Alright, let's set the URL to https wikipedia.com. Okay, and it's now added this one here, and we can see that the icon is the Wikipedia favicon. Okay, cool. Alright, and now let's click on Wikipedia, and it will send us to Wikipedia. Cool. Alright, and now let's actually go and change the name. So let's go here and let's just change this to updated. Like that. Let's press save, and now it's updated, and we can see that we have a notification that says bookmark updated. Alright, and if we go to the bookmarks view, we now see that this now says updated. Okay, cool. Alright, so now let's go here, and I guess we could try and delete this. If we go here and click on delete, then it will delete it, and it says here deleted bookmark. That's cool. And if we go to the bookmarks view, we now only see one bookmark. Okay, so the Wikipedia bookmark has been deleted. Cool. Alright, so now we can actually move on to the to-dos view. Alright, so here we have the to-dos view, and currently we only have these two to-do items, okay, and this one is completed, and we can actually change the completed state by clicking on the to-do, okay, so that will change it to a uncompleted state, and we could go here and click it again to change it back to a completed state, okay, so clicking on the to-do items will toggle the completed state, and if we look here, on hover we see these two action buttons show up. So here we have a button to edit. So let's click on that, and it sends us to the edit to do view, and we are able to change the text of the to do. So here we can change this to testing 1 2 3. All right, and we can press enter to submit the form, and now we see that this has the text of testing 1 2 3. Cool. All right, and now we can actually go here and click on the delete button. Cool, and that actually deletes the to do. Okay. So let's try and add a new to-do. So let's call this new to-do. Press enter, and it's been added there. Let's create another one. Let's create another one. 2, and let's just create one more. 3. Okay, and now let's try and click on this one, and now that's selected. That's cool. Let's try and delete some of these. Let's go here and delete these. Cool. All right. Let's add one more. Build a personal dashboard. Okay, cool, and let's delete this one. Cool, all right. So let's now move on to the notes view. All right, and here we currently have one note, and it has the title of test note, and it has the content of this is the description of the note, okay? All right, so let's actually add a new note. So let's go here and let's call this new note, all right? And we don't actually need to set any content, so we can just do create note like that, and now it just has new note, okay? Let's now click on this one, and it sends us to the edit note view. All right, and let's just add some content. So, okay, so here is some content. Okay, let's now click save, and there we go. Okay, and we can now go and click on this, and we can click on delete, and then that will then delete the note from the application. Cool, all right. And one thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be saving the application state into local storage. And we will be doing that so that we can keep the application state even after we have reloaded the app. So here we can actually click on reload, and we still see the same note, and if you go to the bookmarks view, we still see the same state for the bookmarks, and we still see the same state for the to-dos. And that's actually because if we go to the developer tools and go to application, we can actually see that in local storage we have these 3 items, and inside here we're actually storing the application state in JSON format, and then when the application loads, we're actually loading in the state from local storage. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And also we're able to make sure that if the state changes in a different tab or in a different window, that the application state is updated. So here we can actually go and we can go to localhost 4200, okay, and we can go to the notes view, and here we can add a new note. Okay, so you can do new note. Okay, and here we see the new note, and if you go to the first tab here and go to the notes view, we see that it's there. Okay, and if we go here and we add some content, so some content, and click save. All right, and then we go to the second tab and we see some content has been added there. Okay, cool. And if I actually put them side by side, we can actually see that they'll be updating in real time. So if I go here and I add a new to do, and let's just go to the to dos view in this window here. All right, and let's add a new to do here. This is a new to do. Okay, and I'm gonna click create to do, and it adds that right there. Okay, cool. And if I go and add a new to do, this to do will be deleted. Okay, and now it's showing up there. And now I'm gonna go to the second window and I'm gonna click on delete, and it'll actually delete them from both windows. All right, cool. So now we can close this. Okay, another feature we're going to be implementing is this feature to change the background image. So let's go up here to this button here and let's click on that, and then that will then change the background image. Okay, and let's try that again, and it will find another image and it will fade out the old image into the new image. Okay, so we'll have this nice fade effect like that. Cool. All right. So yeah, so that's the application that we're going to be building, and let's get started. Cool. All right. So the first thing we have to do is we can go to the folder where we want to create the project, and then I'm going to open terminal here, and then in the terminal we can use the Angular CLI to generate the new project. So ng new, and then the project name, which is Angular dash. And then I'll call this Angular personal dashboard, dashboard, like that. And then I'm going to add a few flags here. Style is equal to SCSS, and routing, and skip tests. Okay, press enter, and then the Angular CLI will create the project for us. All right, cool. So once that's done, we can then close that and then go to the folder that was created, and I'm going to open this up in code. Okay, all right, so first thing we can do is we can go to app.component.html. There we go, and let's actually go to the terminal and let's use the command ng-serve to serve the application. Okay, so once that's finished, we can now go to the browser and go to localhost 4200. And here we see this, and that's because in our project we have this placeholder content here, right? So all of this markup and styles here is creating this here. So let's go and remove that. Let's go and get rid of that. So let's go to the bottom, and here we see that it says that this is the end of the placeholder content. So let's get rid of all of this. So let's go to the top and let's click here, go all the way to the bottom down here, and then we just get rid of all of that so that we only have the router outlet tag. Okay, let's save that now, and let's go back to the application, and now we see a blank screen. Cool. So let's go back to the app.component.html, and the first thing we should do is we should create the layout of the application. So then if we go to the UI design, we see here that we have three main sections. We have this top section here, and that contains the date and the time, and then there's this section here, and this contains the UI for the currently selected tab. So in this instance, it's the bookmarks view. and if we go to the to-dos, then the UI for the to-dos would show up. So if I go here and go to the to-dos view, then this section here is replaced with the UI for the to-dos view. Okay, so those are those two sections, and then the third section is down here, and it's the section that contains the tabs here, right? So let's go and create this layout now. Let's go to our template. Okay, so this is the root outlet tag, and this will be what is shown in the content section, which is this section here, right? As it's entirely based on the current root, right? So this should be surrounded with a div, and let's give this the class of content section. All right, so now let's go and create the top section, this section here. So let's create the top section, and inside here we want to create this heading here, which has the time and the date. Okay, so let's go and do that. So let's do H1, and let's say 1900, and let's now do a H2, and inside here we can set the 1st of January 2020. Okay, and later on we can program this so that this is the actual time. Okay, but for now let's just hard code in this, and let's save this, and let's go back to the application, and now we see this. Okay, so we now have to turn this into this. So that can be done using styling. So let's go back to our template, and let's go and style this. Okay, but one quick thing we have to do before that is just create a div which will wrap the entire UI. Okay, and then I'm going to just format document, and then I'm going to give this the class of app wrapper. Okay, and that's looking pretty good. Let's now save this, and let's go to the style sheet. Okay, app.component.scss, and then inside here, first of all, let's style the app wrapper, and let's say that this is display flex, and that the flex direction is column. Okay, so let's save that, and let's go back to the application, and it still looks the same, so that's good. Let's go back to the code, and let's now give this height 100% as well, height 100%, and let's give this a background color of, let's say, hashtag E1, E2, ED. Okay, so that's like, okay, so that's kind of like a blue color, but a very, very, very light blue. So it's kind of gray that has a bit of blue in it. Let's save that, and let's go back to the application. And now here, this section here is the app wrapper. Okay, so this isn't exactly what we want because it's not 100% of the height, right? It is 100% of the height, but we want it to be 100% of this whole UI, right? And the reason that height 100% isn't working is because all of the parent elements have to also be height 100% in order for this app wrapper to be 100% of the whole UI, right? So if we go back to the application and we do inspect element, and we go to the app root, and we go to the app wrapper, so here it has height 100%, but it's only the height of its contents, right? And we want it to be the whole UI. So here, if we look at the parent elements, such as the body, this hasn't got height, this isn't height 100%, and the HTML also isn't height 100%, right? So let's give those heights 100%, like that, and let's go here and let's give this height 100%, and now it's the height of the whole UI, right? So that's pretty cool. So let's go and do that now. Let's go back here and let's go to styles.scss. Okay, so this is the global styles file. So inside here we can do HTML and body and give this height 100%. Okay, and now let's go back here and it's now the height of the whole UI. And one thing you may have noticed is that we see the scroll bar, and that isn't very good. The reason that that's happening is because there is some default margins on the body tag, right? If we go here, we can see that it's the user agent style sheet, so default styles, and it has a 8-pixel margin, right? And that's causing this scroll bar as there's 16 pixels extra height more than the 100% because there's 8 pixels up here and then 8 pixels down here. So to fix this, we could give the body the style of margin 0. However, we could also use a CSS reset, which contains these styles as well as some other styles that will reset the default browser styles, right? So let's go and do that. So let's go and import mini reset.css. Okay, so this is the one that I use. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to go to the styles.css and go here and paste that in right there. Okay, so let's save that now and let's go back to the application. And now there's no scroll bars. Cool. So that looks pretty good. And you may have also noticed that these styles have been kind of reset here, and now they're all the same size, and they don't look like how they were before. And that's because the CSS styles that are for the heading tags have been reset. So that's fine, and later on we'll actually style these ourselves. So let's go back to the code. Let's close this, and this now has the full height of the UI, and it's this color here, right? So we can see this more clearly if we change this to something a bit more dark, something like that, and go back here, and now it's changed this color here. Cool. All right, so let's go back to the code. Let's just Control Z that. Let's undo that. Okay, save that and go back here. Cool. All right, so what should we do first? So let's work on the... Let's actually create all 3 sections, and let's just actually get the layout properly done. So let's go back to the template, actually, this template here, and let's just quickly create the last section here, which is the tab section. So let's go to the template and let's create a div, and let's give this the class of bottom section. Okay, and then inside here we will put tabs later on. Okay, so that's good. Let's just now go back to the style sheet and let's go and style the top section. So if we go here and look at the top section, we want to style that. So if we go here and do top section, and let's just give this the background color, and let's just give this the color of aquamarine. Okay, let's save that and let's go back to the application, and now it's that color there. Cool. So now let's go and do a similar thing for the content section and the bottom section. So the content section, let's give this background color of cadet blue. Okay, save that and let's go back to the application, and we can't see anything. The reason for that is because there's no content, so it has a height of 0. So then if we look at the inspect and we look at the content section, it is here, it does exist, but it has a height of 0, and you can see that if we go to here, we see it has a height of 0. Okay, so let's go and fix that. So we want this to actually grow to be the maximum height of the free space, right? Because if we look here, this space here is the space which should fill all of the space that's not already taken up by the top section or the tabs, right? So if we go here and we give this flex grow 1, okay, and that will work because as the content section is a child of the app wrapper, right? If we look here, it's a child of the app wrapper, and this is a flex box. Okay, so if we save this now, and let's also go here and save this, and let's now go to the app, and now this is all cadet blue. Cool, so it's actually growing to fill all of the free space. Cool. All right, so let's now go and work on the bottom section, and this one we can give a background color of coral. Okay, save this, and let's go back to the application, and we can't see it, and that's because there's no content, so it's the same problem as before. So for this, we don't want to give this a flex grow or anything like that, because we do only want it to expand to take up the space of its content, right? But for now, we haven't implemented the tab, so there isn't any content to show. However, let's just put in some stuff here. So let's just say this is where the tabs will be. Okay, let's save that, and let's go back to the application, and now it's down here. Cool. So we have this kind of layout here, where there's a top section, there's a content section, which grows to fill its space, to fill all of the remaining free space, and then we have the bottom section down here. Okay, cool. All right, so that's looking pretty good. Let's now go and style this top section. So let's go back to the template, and let's now go to the style sheet, and let's go and style the H1 and the H2. So for this, let's actually go to styles.scss, and let's actually put in some styles for H1 and H2 that are global to the whole application. So let's just go here and let's just do H1 font size 48 pixels, and then let's go to H2 and let's give this font size of 40 pixels. Okay, so let's save that now, and let's close this, and let's go back, and let's actually go back to the application and see how that looks now. Cool. All right. One thing we should probably also do is import the font that we're using, because this is the default font here, and we're using this font here, and this is called Inter. So let's go to Google Fonts, and let's type in Inter. Okay, let's go with this one, and let's just select the styles we will need. So we'll need the 400, we'll need the 600, and we'll need the 700. Okay, and here we can embed this pretty easily by using @import. So I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to go back to styles.scss, and then I'm going to go here and paste that in right there. Okay, so I'm going to save that now and close this, and then go back to the application, and it's still not using that font. The reason for that is because I haven't actually set the font in the style sheet. So let's go here, and I'm going to give a HTML style, and the reason for that is because I want this to be a style that is inherited by all of the other elements, right? And we can do that by styling HTML. So here we can do font family, and give this and type in Inter, and then sans serif as an alternative. Okay, save that, and let's go back to the application, and there we go. Cool. All right, so let's now go back to our code, and let's go back to applet-component.scss, and okay, so let's go here. All right, so here let's go and style the H1 tag. Okay, and here I'm nesting it, and we can do that because I'm using SCSS. Cool, so inside here we can now do font size 120 pixels, and we can do font weight bold, and we can give us the color of hashtag F5, 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 and that's a very, very, very light gray. Okay, so it's kind of white, but it's got a little bit of gray in it. So save that, and let's go back to the application, and there we go. Cool, so that looks pretty similar to what we have here. And let's now go and style this. Let's go back to the code, and let's go and style H2. And here, let's give this the font size of 28 pixels. and let's give this the color of white. And let's also give this a text shadow. So let's do a text dash shadow, and let's give this a 0 pixels horizontal offset. Let's give this a 1 pixel vertical offset, and let's give this a 4 pixel blur, and then we can set the color as RGBA black 0.1. Okay, so let's save that now. Let's go back to the application, and there we go. And it does have that shadow there as well. Cool. So it's very, very, very subtle. So let's just try and increase this to see if it's there. If we go like that, yeah. All right. So it's definitely there. All right. So let's go back to the code here, and let's just copy this, and let's just paste this in here as well, so that they both have this. But let's just actually increase the blur here to 7 pixels, and let's give this a value of 0.12. And let's go here and give this a value of 0.1. Okay, let's save that. Let's go back to the application. And there we go. Cool. All right. And actually, we can probably just give this a value of 0.1 here as well. Okay, cool. So now we can actually center the text. So let's go back here, and let's go here. And let's do text align center. Okay, save that and go back. And now it's centered. That's cool. So it's centered like it is here. That's pretty good. And let's go back to style sheet. And actually, we set the font size here, but I don't think we need to, because I think we did that in the global styles, right? We set it to 40 pixels and 48 pixels. So even though we set them here, we're actually completely overriding them here. But the reason I put them here is because I wanted just to set the global styles for H1 and H2, so that if we use these in the future in other parts of the app, then they have a kind of consistent styling. But in this case, it's a special case because it's for this kind of use case at the top of the UI, right? So these aren't actually the typical use cases of H1 and H2 tags, so they have some special styles, right? But yes, I've just added these here just so that they're there if we have to use them in the future. But we're not actually using them at the moment because we're just completely overriding the font sizes here. Cool. All right. So that's pretty good. Cool. All right. So let's go back to the application and let's see what else we have to do. So here we need some padding, right? So we could give some padding, or we could actually set flex grow so that it will take up some of the free space in the UI. We could do that. So for example, if we go back to the application, we could give this a flex grow value, like flex grow 1, save that and go back here, and it should take up half of the free space, the same as this one here, right? And we could give this a higher flex grow value so it takes up more. So for example, if we go here and we go back down to the content section and give this flex grow 4 and save that, we could do that so that we have it like that. And then what we could do is we could center this, right? And in that way, then on larger screens, then it would take up a proportional amount of space. However, in this case, I think we can just use padding. So I think if we go here now, I think we can just use padding. Cool. All right, so if we're using padding, then we can go up here and we can get rid of the flex grow, and instead just use padding, and let's just say 100 pixels. Save that, and let's go back to the application. And there we go. So now we have 100 pixels of padding on the top and the bottom and the left and the right. We don't need it on the left and the right, so let's just get rid of the padding on the left and the right. Okay, so let's do this. So let's give this 2 values, right? So 100 pixels and then 0. Okay, so that would say that the top and the bottom is 100 pixels and the left and the right will be 0. Okay, save this and go back to the application, and there we go. So it still looks the same, but now there's no left and right padding. Okay, cool. So let's now go back to the code, and let's go back down to the content section, and let's just put this back to flex grow 1, as it doesn't really make a difference anymore because there's only going to be one element that has flex grow, and that's the content section, right? So if we save that and go back to the application, it still looks the same. Cool. All right, so let's now go back to the code and let's see what else we need to do. So we've done this top section, and I think that's pretty much done. Yeah. We have the tab section to do, and then this is the content section. So the next thing we can do is we can go and create the tabs. All right then, so let's go and do that next.